Welcome to class 9 students. Today I am going to start the cellular respiration part with you all. I hope you have understood the organ level respiration part of this chapter, and the second part of this chapter is cellular respiration. So what do you mean by cellular respiration? The process of respiration that takes place within each cell is known as cellular respiration, and it takes place with the help of oxygen. Means oxygen is absolutely necessary for cellular respiration, and the respiratory substrate here, which is broken down to form energy in the form of ATP. That respiratory substrate here is the glucose. It comes from the food that we eat. The food is then broken down via the process of digestion, and the cells of our body absorb the glucose, and then they also take in oxygen and perform cellular respiration. Okay, so this is the brief idea about cellular respiration. Let's move on to the topic of respiration and combustion. Okay, so as I have already discussed this in the online class, that respiration and combustion, this part was already there in your class 7 syllabus. So I think you have understood this, and you don't have any doubt from this topic. Combustion and respiration, the difference is very important. Respiration is basically a biochemical process, that is a process that takes place in biological organisms or living organisms. On the other hand, combustion is a physico-chemical process. Okay, so similarly there are a few differences between combustion and respiration. Directly moving on to the main part of this chapter, which is the types of cellular respiration. The first one is aerobic respiration, second one is anaerobic, and third one is fermentation. Okay, so coming to aerobic respiration, what is that? When respiration, means the cellular respiration that takes place in the presence of free oxygen, and in this kind of respiration the respiratory substrate is completely broken down, that is known as aerobic respiration. And after this kind of cellular respiration, 686 kilocalories of energy are produced. Okay, so you will have to remember the definition and the equation that is provided right below the definition. Okay, next, moving on to anaerobic respiration, it is just opposite to that of aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is that type of cellular respiration which takes place in absence of free oxygen, and here the respiratory substrate glucose is not completely broken down, and the amount of energy produced is also much less than that produced in aerobic respiration. That is, during aerobic respiration 686 kilocalories of energy was produced, but in case of anaerobic respiration only 50 kilocalories of energy is produced. Okay, so these are the few important differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Also, you will have to learn the names of certain anaerobic organisms like anaerobic bacteria, for example Theobacillus, desulfur vibrio, methane bacteria. These names you will have to learn very well. Okay, and also the equation given right below the paragraph of anaerobic respiration. Okay, next, coming to the third type of cellular respiration is fermentation. Now basically fermentation is not much different from anaerobic respiration. It is basically a type of anaerobic respiration only but that type of anaerobic respiration where for products lactic acid, ethyl alcohol, these are formed, that type of anaerobic respiration is known as fermentation. Okay, see the definition: the process by which respiratory substrate is incompletely oxidized. In case of anaerobic also, the respiratory substrate was incompletely oxidized. Okay, and this also takes place in absence of free oxygen, and the main difference is that in case of fermentation mainly lactic acid, ethyl alcohol, these are formed, but means this is one type of anaerobic respiration only where for the product the products mainly are lactic acid, ethyl alcohol, and another difference is that in case of anaerobic respiration 50 kilocalories of energy are formed, but in case of fermentation even lesser amount of energy which is 25 kilocalories of energy is produced. Okay. Now another type of fermentation is alcoholic fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is that type of fermentation where ethyl alcohol is formed. Previously I told you that fermentation produces lactic acid, ethyl alcohol, etc. So that type of fermentation where ethyl alcohol is formed as the product, that fermentation is known as alcoholic fermentation. You will also have to learn the overall reaction for alcoholic fermentation, which is given in your book. Next we come to muscular fatigue, the process by which lactic acid is accumulated in muscles due to excessive contraction. So suppose someone is doing a strenuous activity and suppose someone is exercising a lot or running a marathon. During that time the person is breathing very fast and not enough oxygen is is being taken in, and thus not all the cells are receiving enough amount of energy. So in absence of oxygen, what will happen? What type of respiration will the cells perform? In absence of oxygen, the cells will perform anaerobic respiration instead of aerobic respiration, and as a result of anaerobic respiration, you know that lactic acid is formed, and due to the accumulation of lactic acid these cramps start taking place, which is the proper scientific term of that condition is known as muscular fatigue. Within the muscles this lactic acid starts to accumulate. Okay. Next you have the difference between aerobic, anaerobic and fermentation. You will find that aerobic and anaerobic they are completely different from each other, but anaerobic and fermentation only 2 points are different among them. Okay. And one more correction that you will have to make here is that aerobic respiration point number 4, it is written that full energy released is 868 kilocalorie. It is a printing mistake, it will be 686 kilocalorie. Already you have learnt that during aerobic respiration. In the equation only you will find that 686 kilocalories of energy. Okay. So this is all about the different types of cellular respiration. I hope you have understood them. Next the topic that we have is the steps of cellular respiration. Okay. I am going to continue with the steps of cellular respiration in the next video, but let me tell you there are 3 steps of cellular respiration. That means the whole process of cellular respiration takes place via 3 steps, which are glycolysis, Krebs cycle and electron transport system. Okay. I am going to discuss in details about all these things in the next video, and I hope you have whatever I have discussed today, especially the different types of cellular respiration, it is clear to everybody. Okay. Thank you.